Hello nerds! This week on the Larp House we are covering a long-awaited topic, character creation. How to get started! The first thing you need to know is that there is no wrong place to start in character creation. You can draw from anything that inspires you. One thing that is essential to early character creation is learning the setting and the rules of the game that you want to play. That is where you will find the races, cultures, and abilities that can spark an idea if you're having trouble. Here is a look at what has inspired some existing characters.
A long time ago I was doing this written RP online, and they needed a mechanic for something. So I created this elven mechanic who was like way older than everybody, but still super bubbly. And then I used the same concept for a million different things. And then every time I used her, she changed a little bit more until she became this tiny Disney princess of a half-elf.
I'm getting into blacksmithing. I eventually would want to make it my job because I'm starting out with that right now. Made him because he's a blacksmith and I want to be one, so I just became a blacksmith.
There was a new race coming out called the Parthians, and that they were these Amazon women, but it was more of a gender egalitarian kind of society. And so I used to be really into Greek mythology, and so the Amazons were always a huge thing. So I kind of just jumped at that.
Some inspiration from the Hornblower series or Aubrey Maturin series, but that's mostly driven by in-character conversation and relationships.
Usually my characters come from characters that I see in movies and TV or in books that I love. But this character actually came from a song called Tulip by Jessica Hoop. The lyrics are about, I think, murder and being in love with somebody and somebody who's drowning. They're kind of nonsense, and sometimes you don't really know, but it's fine.
My character concept was a human who wanted to be something else, something magical or mystical or anything else. She disliked being a human. That was it, nothing else. All of the rest happened in game.
I really wanted to play this race because I think they're really cool, and I love elves, and I was like, it's a dark elf, it's a Svartalfar, it's awesome. And then it kind of just went from there. I wanted to be as creepy as possible, but I also kind of wanted to make her like have a softer side, which is where like her ultimate goal, which is a secret.
And I was like, everybody's gonna be from their different time period. I'll just be from the present. I'll just be a naive-ass 20-something-year-old walking around with these like 100-year-old beings.
So the circus was a group of my best friends. You know, it was 9 of us that got together. We all were mostly ex-LARPers who hadn't LARPed in a while. More than anything, I got shoehorned into this position because everybody else kind of chose a role and then said not it. But it worked out pretty well.
Oh, Petra is a perfect mashup of Dory from Finding Nemo, Peter Pan, and Finn from Adventure Time. Like if you just put them in a blender, pour it out, it's Petra. So your initial concept can come from anywhere. A fantasy race that you want to play, an outfit that you want to wear, a song that you've heard. It can even be just based on what the party needs currently. My advice to you, if you are super stumped, is to take a couple characters that you love and mash them together like I did with Petra. All of this will inform what is likely the most difficult part of character creation, the backstory. I like to borrow from film and literature and add a twist to it. For example, part of Petra's backstory is that she guides souls of lost children to the afterlife, and that's my dark twist on the story of Peter Pan. Here are some other tips on backstory writing.
Okay, you need to have bullet points for basically your background details. 2 or 3 anecdotes you can tell when you're in game to other players. You make more if you want to, but you don't want to know everything, so you can have tiny surprises along the way. And you also don't want to like follow a film concept too closely, because that can be disappointing. If you're not exactly Jack Sparrow, don't try to make your character be Jack Sparrow.
I usually start off with what kind of a character I want to play. Like in D&D, you have like the ranger, the paladin, the cleric, the rogue, and then I say, okay, what kind of a place would that type of character come from? And I go from there and develop their family and their personality and stuff.
Now, here are some tips that I have picked up from my experience LARPing. Make the character relatively sociable. You don't have to be like super outgoing, but try to avoid being the brooding loner in the corner.
Make it as easy as possible for people to talk to your character and to include you in the game, especially if this is your first character ever. Write an inclusive backstory. Try to include a problem in there that you need the help of friends to solve. Give your character something to do during lulls. You will be very glad that you did this when it's the middle of the day and there are no encounters going on. Maybe log the magical abilities of other players for research during downtimes, or start group games impulsively when you're bored. You know, just use your imagination. Give the character some physical or verbal tick. This can be an accent, maybe they stand differently than you do, maybe they have like a weird twitch. This helps you get into and stay in character. Give them a flaw or two, or three. Flaws make for an interesting character and give them the opportunity for growth. Don't stress about the costume. As your character grows, so will your kit, and you can just start off by going to Goodwill and seeing what you can find there and alter to fit your needs. Really, no one's going to judge you for having a basic costume when you're just a little baby character. As far as makeup, props, and weapons, you can check out our other videos for tutorials on how to do all that stuff. Also, don't forget we are still accepting in-character interviews for our Meet the Characters Global Edition video. You might have noticed we've already added some international LARPers to this video. Submission guidelines and interview questions are on our Facebook page. We do not have a hard deadline for this, so you can stop taking the stress out on your family and take your time to make it awesome. If you like what you see on our show and you want to see more, please consider making a small pledge to us on our Patreon page, because we have big dreams and tiny wallets, and that would be really cool of you. And actually, I just want to thank everyone who's already pledged. You guys are seriously amazing, and you keep LARP House going, and you're really, really cool. Thank you so much. You can also mosey on down to the Larp House Etsy store if you like handmade props and prosthetics, and a big thank you to people who've supported us that way as well. If you have any questions, comments, emotional outbursts, please feel free to message us. We are on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram, although Facebook is probably the best way to get in contact with us. And as always, nerds, like us, subscribe to us, fight with us. Also, don't forget we are still